because Clara and Ryan both come from close-knit families and have an open-minded way of approaching life. Clara falls in love easily.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. We're talking to you guys about Married at First Sight. We're dealing with Clara and Ryan, and we're dealing with the hopeless romantic versus new to love topic. So guys, if you are new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe. You click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, well, you got the minerals. You got the minerals. Okay, stop. All right, cool. Listen, let's get into the actual review. So we got Clara, we got Ryan. Okay, very similar in age. Clara 27, Ryan's 29. The hopeless romantic versus the new to love. So we found out with Clara that, you know, she's been through a few dating mishaps where she's dated some guys who have not been great.
I'm done with like the douchebag guys. Like
Yeah,
I'm just so over
We know.
all
So
of the
are we.
guys that I've been dating or talking to. I'm like,
Yeah.
Right. They have, you know, no potential. It seems like she goes on a date and then they're just trash basically. And she tells a very good story about how, you know, a mate even wanted, a guy wanted to even pay her £100 or whatever to date her mate basically after she had already had sex with that person. So that was a bit weird, right? But that story is very, very important because it's going to build up a little bit of a picture for all of us when we're dealing with Clara and Ryan. So one of the pictures I wanted to kind of build up of Clara is that as she's a hopeless romantic, the question to ask here is, does she keep going on very bad dates and encountering bad guys because she got bad luck, or does she keep encountering bad guys because of the way that she is? And when I say bad guys, you know, remember this online dating stuff, you know, these dates and stuff, you know, people need to start having conversations before they go on these dates. All right. Sometimes people are too invested with going out and enjoying themselves without really having a conversation to see if they're actually going to get to know that person. And so some of you may be going out to get to know that person. I would start saying, listen, some of you need to start having some texts and some call convos first.
I one time that kept bringing up how well endowed he was. I bailed. Probably the worst first date. Guy shows up drunk. First of all,
and get to know this person before you go out, because some of these people are crazy. Yeah. And that will kind of help you as well in terms of whether you really want to get to know this person or not. You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like we do things backwards. We date and then we find out about them and then we realize we don't want it. What? Why are we not finding out about the person first, then dating? You know what I mean? Like find out key information first. But anyway, here. So she mentioned something where she said obviously that, you know, she hasn't had great luck with these guys. But what's really interesting is that she mentioned the fact that she's open and honest with her feelings, letting guys know from the jump, you know, hey, look, you know, I enjoyed myself again. When can we go out again? And then she doesn't hear from them. My thing is that either she's having very bad dates and maybe she's part contributed to it, or when she is texting, she's not telling us the full truth. That when she's texting, she might be texting something a bit more, right? She might be saying something a bit much, which is scaring guys off, right? Because obviously she's a hopeless romantic. So maybe she's showing that she's too vulnerable and too committed to getting into a relationship with that person too soon. And so for a lot of guys, they're interested in fun, but when they meet a girl like that, sometimes it can be off-putting because it's like, no, you're going ahead of me. I'm not really about that life. You understand? Plus, I've noticed as well, she talks quite a bit. That could also be an issue for a lot of guys when they go on dates, that maybe she talks too much because she can talk to a brick wall, basically. Maybe sometimes she doesn't listen very well. And maybe they see that as well.
I could talk to a wall for hours with no problem. But I am missing.
But that's me speculating. What I would say is that when she told me about the fact she tells her feelings from the jump, it's overcommitting or oversharing too quickly. Right? Your feelings shouldn't be told to me in a very opening scenes if it goes beyond I had a good time. If you had a good time and that's all you said, why am I saying anything? You know, that's a great thing. If you tell me, oh, we had a great date, if that's all you're saying, but something doesn't feel right, you just saying to me that you tell them that you're having a good time and that is the problem, then if that's all you're sending, then the problem is the date. Something's happened on these dates that are causing you to date losers. Do you understand? Because after a while, you have to start looking at yourself and saying, what am I contributing towards this particular thing, right? So that's why I said she spoke about the cab situation, right? The cab situation where the person paid for the cab, and notice she said she was alluding to the fact that they had sex. How can a guy want, or at least some form of sexual contact was happening?
To take my best friend on a date. Even though he and I
or some kissing or something, because she was like, she alluded to it, right? And so that for me says the person gives off too quickly. The person's got an ideal mindset. They start thinking about the future way too quickly. Okay, when people get attached too quickly, it's often because they think every person they meet is perfect. Another reason is that they think that every person is going to give them the happily ever after. Their focus isn't in themselves, that they make themselves happy. Its focus is in that person making them happy. So I wonder if that is a mindset she has. Another thing is that sometimes we think that having somebody else will help complete us. And so when you add the fact that you think that you're meeting somebody new and they show you a little bit about themselves, they're perfect, that you're overzealous about your care towards them, you think that you're gonna have a happily ever after, and that this person can complete you, add all that together, it's too much, too soon, too quick, and too heavy. And so a guy can feel scared and want to run a mile. If you're one of those people that gets attached really, really quickly, you need to be able to tell yourself, listen, first of all, okay, there is nobody's perfect, so let's get to know the person. Get excited, yes, really excited. In your closet with your friends, get excited. Oh my God, it's great. But do not allow that excitement to start overriding your experience with that person when you're not actually trying to really get deep. You're already smitten with them. No. Okay, that person giving you happily ever after, let me tell you something. You should be whole before you come into a relationship. You should be making yourself happy before you come into a relationship. It is not the responsibility of the individual person to keep you happy throughout your whole entire life.
Really, really, really with this is it. Like, I want this, I want it now. I'm just terrified. I mean, because you guys know I get my feelings hurt easily and often.
But it is their responsibility to partner with you in this relationship. What I mean by that is that if you don't take responsibility for making yourself happy, what happens is you put all the effort and the energy and the responsibility and the hope into your partner to fulfill all your emotional needs that make you happy, and it's not possible. This is why you need friends. This is why you need family. This is why you need your partner. Right? When you have a partner, it is not their sole responsibility to make you emotionally happy in all those areas, because it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village too to be able to make that person happy. You get me? So when I heard that, I said, oh, maybe as a hopeless romantic, that is something that, she does a bit, and it comes across to these guys, and that's why maybe that she ends up with these type of guys who are losers in a sense. And so sometimes this energy that you put out oftentimes gets shown in the kind of barriers you put up, which is why I mentioned the sex thing. Nothing wrong being sexually liberated, but if your boundaries and the way that you exhibit those boundaries isn't in the right way, men sense vulnerability. They don't sense somebody who's strong and confident about their life. They don't sense that. They sense vulnerability, sadness. They sense the person who's weak and vulnerable and just wants to have anybody to make them love them, and therefore they are a prime suspect for taking advantage of, right? And so what's interesting is that Ryan, in the case of Ryan, which is really interesting, this guy hasn't found love yet. And I'm like, blood, you've dated some people in the past, like, how come you haven't?
I do want to be in love, but I've never said I love you to somebody. I feel like that is a very special thing to say to somebody. I haven't
really thought about the fact that they're interracial relationship, to be honest, and it's not a big thing. Like, I don't think it was a big thing. So for me, it was more of a case of like, okay, so you have been in a few relationships, you haven't said I love you, you're waiting for the right kind of person, but you've dated other women in the past. What happened to get you to that point? Now, you've got a great example. Your parents are there. They are a great example. So what was missing from those relationships? That's what I want to know. But I really feel like it's got a great chance. I see them as very compatible. The way that they have their energy together, the way that they see life, I think he's a tender, caring kind of guy. She needs that tender, kind of caring kind of guy. I don't see why they couldn't work together. I don't see why they couldn't work out together. Do you know what I'm saying? My only thing is, as I said, I don't know why he hasn't fallen in love as of yet. I don't know why, if you've been in relationships, why love hasn't come yet. Has it ended too quickly? And he gave it an example about a woman coming to him and saying you shouldn't be with him when he was dating interracially, and I wonder if that's going to play a big part in the relationship, because although he grew up around a white culture,
upbringing was predominantly like around white people, so it taught me a different way to see the world. I've had some great interracial relationships. And
you know, his family's black, so will that play a part? How would she respond to that? Does she know how to date interracially? Like, is that the kind of guy she goes for? You know what I mean? Is that also her preference then? Maybe that's her preference. Maybe these are the guys she's talking about. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. And to get more information like that, I didn't see that part of the show anyway, so maybe someone else can fill me in. What will be an interesting thing for him is obviously the fact, will he bring his naiveties into the actual relationship? So when you've never fallen in love, it's a different experience. Let me be real with you. If you've never fallen in love, it's a different type of experience. The way that you see the world, different. The way that you view relationships, different. And when you've actually matured and had your heart broken, when you've had your heart broken for the first time, let me tell you something, it changes you, man. It really, really changes you, man. You think different. So that's going to be an interesting thing, how he will respond to falling in love for the first time. This is Derek and Katie. I hope but Kate was a bit more raw. But it's similar. Derek didn't know how to. Derek hadn't fallen in love yet, but at least he knew what he was about. So I'm hoping that Ryan has met a good one in Clara, in the sense that she's going to be able to hold his hand through the process of falling in love, and that it's not going to be a taken advantage scene of. She doesn't seem like that type of girl anyway. She looks like she needs that kind of love. So I don't know. I think I see good things for them. I can see them almost like my Amelia and Bennett from last season. They look like they should be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless she's got things that we haven't seen yet, unless she like has a tendency to blow up and move mad and stuff like that, yeah, it's a mausoleum. You know what I mean? So I don't know, guys. You let me know. I mean, like, share, subscribe. Tell us your thoughts on Ryan and dealing with Clara. What do you guys think? Let us know down below in the comment section. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded.